Hey, what's going on? Welcome into the Snap. Your boys Mac and Lando back for another mock draft. Lando, what's been going on, man?
Not too much, Mac. Doing well. Hopefully, the weather gets better for anyone watching in Canada. We have had a slow spring, but happy Easter to everyone as well. And if you're looking to join one of these mock drafts, make sure to join our Discord. The link to our Discord is in the episode description. And then you have a chance to mock draft with Mac and I, test your skills against us, and get ready for the fantasy football season because we have the NFL draft coming up around the corner, Mac, as
2
well.
weeks, man. 2 weeks away till that NFL draft. In 2 weeks, this time we will have known where the first round players fell. We'll have probably some thoughts on guys like Drake London, Garrett Wilson, hopefully Brees Hall. Be really, really fun. So yeah, Discord's where we keep the conversation going. Would also be helpful if you are watching this content, leave a like on the video, subscribe for future content. We had a really nice series last year about rookie profiles. We've put them off this year so we can kind of do some more in-depth analysis after we know their landing spots. So keep an eye for those. They're in high demand, and we're going to make sure that they come right to your pocket. So stay subscribed, post notifications. You know the deal. Before we kick things off on the mock draft, we've got how many spots left open right now, Lando?
Looks like 5 spots left open.
Yeah, so far we've got Mark, Taylor, Pitts Perfect, Tron, who I believe is Adam, Easy Daddy. I think we got a couple more coming over from the Discord. But if you happen to stumble upon us on Twitch, on Twitter, on YouTube, go ahead and click the link in the episode description. You can grab one of these 5 remaining spots and draft alongside us. We're doing a 12-team full PPR with tight end premium scoring. Tight ends are going to receive a 1.5 for reception. So boost some of those players up, but not all.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, Mac. This is my second mock draft of the offseason, and it's going to be a lot of fun to see where the ADP goes. And that's everything you want to do in the offseason, see where the value is, and
Mm-hmm.
kind of following ADP, taking the value where it falls, and maybe reaching half a round for your players. But it should be a lot of fun. Hopefully, we get a few more people in here. Should be good.
Absolutely. Anything you want to touch on from around the league? Any news that you want to talk about? If off the top of my head, I know that Derek Carr just got a 3-year extension for, I think it was $121 million.
Mm-hmm.
Looks like the Raiders think Derek Carr is good enough. I wouldn't say he's an elite quarterback, but definitely good enough. So
Yeah,
is
I
this
mean,
good for them?
I think it's fine for them. They just traded for Devontae Adams, so they needed to lock in Derek Carr as well. He's getting paid like a top 12 quarterback in the league.
Yep.
We all agree that he's not that, but remember when Derek Carr, he was one of the first ones to sign one of those big deals in his first contract, and then everyone else surpassed him, and that'll happen again with the Justin Herberts and Joe Burrows of the world about to get signed for big, big money.
Yep.
So you know what it is was what it is. The Las Vegas Raiders look like a desirable location to sign. I mean, it's a great city, tons of action there, and then now they have a pretty good combination with Carr, Adams, Renfro, and Josh Jacobs in the backfield. They have some decent players on defense as well. So the Raiders, you know, people might want to go to LA or Las Vegas. I mean, soon.
In your dynasty quarterback rankings, now knowing Derek Carr's future down the road into 2025, where does he fall in terms of dynasty quarterback ranks for you?
If it's a super flex format with a more premium uh, value on quarterbacks, he's he's in the top 20 for sure.
Yeah.
But as far as redraft one quarterback leagues, I mean, he's a late round guy that he's a streaming quarterback. But in a super flex format, you know, he's got Devontae Adams now, and he
Yeah,
was
he's
fine.
desirable as a 2, right?
Yeah, absolutely. He was serviceable before Devontae Adams, so he'll be just fine. I forgot with Darren Waller as well. So
Mhm.
he's definitely in the conversation as a really, really solid quarterback 2 for Superflex formats.
Other players getting the money. We've got Brandon Cooks agreed to a 2-year extension with the Texans, and then a big boy deal. Stephon Diggs signed a 4-year, $104 million extension with the Bills, $70 million guaranteed. They want Stephon Diggs until he's ready to close up shop.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a big deal for Diggs, and he's kind of undervalued so far this year because he was a little bit he underperformed last year based on where he was drafted. He was drafted as the number 2, 3 wide receiver off the board, and he disappointed. So now I think he's going later. I think once the season starts up again, he should be considered in that upper echelon of wide receiver, right around the Justin Jeffersons of the world, because especially in redraft leagues, because he's going to put up some serious numbers. He'll be on pace for 140 targets, and not too many wide receivers can say that.
Yeah, 100%.
We
What else I
we
want to talk
should
about? I wanted to talk real quick about T. Higgins. There was some news. He was at a Cincinnati Reds game. He was spotted in a sling. It looks like he had surgery to repair a torn labrum, but he will be ready to go for training camp. So this is, if you saw this picture, if you saw this news, looks like it's not going to be an issue. It should be a non-issue for training camp. So T. Higgins, no real reason to panic. No real reason for concern.
Yeah. It's been a while, but we haven't talked about it. Tragic news about Dwayne Haskins passing. He had young kids. Terrible news in the NFL world. But regardless of anything fantasy, you hate to see it. He was so young. So rest in power to Dwayne Haskins.
And beloved by his teammates. So many guys stepped forward and talked about him, which I thought was really nice. He wasn't a guy who had like a ton of on-field presence at this point in his career. Hopefully that would have changed for him, but a lot of guys speaking out on their time with Haskins and how much they appreciated him as a teammate and how much of a positive and uplifting guy he was. So those are the things that you want to come to the surface about a player, and that was really nice to see.
Of course.
The last one I wanted to talk about before we kick this thing off, Melvin Gordon did visit the Baltimore Ravens. Gus Edwards, J.K. Dobbins still recovering from injuries last year in preseason. They might not be ready to go. I think we're getting closer and closer to the potential of them being on, like, one of them being on the PUP list to start. They maybe need to bring in a back like Melvin Gordon. They tried Le'Veon Bell, they tried Devonta Freeman, and those guys couldn't carry the load. So if Melvin Gordon were to sign with the Ravens, what does that do for your temperature on a guy like J.K. Dobbins?
I think that opens the window to buy J.K. Dobbins in dynasty formats. I would not be interested as much in redraft. We saw what happened last year with Javonte Williams and Melvin Gordon. There was a split backfield. I think that's what would happen again if Melvin decided to go to Baltimore. So, yeah, I wouldn't love it. But in dynasty, I'd definitely be knocking on the door of the J.K. Dobbins owner to see if I could get him off his hands. I'm surprised Melvin isn't going to go back to the Broncos, honestly, with what they're doing there with Russell. We love Javonte, and if Melvin leaves, Javonte is going to be a top 3 running back in the NFL if he gets all the opportunity. But we know that a lot of teams want 2 running backs. They don't want to have to rely on one guy in the backfield. So I'm surprised Melvin isn't staying in Denver myself.
Yeah, for sure. And Nick says the PUP list, say it ain't so. Nick, I hope not, but there's some potential there. Let's just put it out there. It looks like we are almost full. 2 teams left. We're gonna get this thing kicked off and rolling today. Without further ado, we've talked through the news. We've talked through some things that we want to talk about, and I'm gonna go ahead and click the start of this
Let's
draft. Let me make sure, though,
get
that
it.
I have the timer right. 60 seconds. Yeah, that's perfect. So
Perfect.
we are underway, folks. Start draft.
Now, even in a tight end premium, Mark was asking about a guy like Mark Andrews and if he
Sure.
should be going early. And I still believe that the first tight end should be going maybe the back of the first round, or maybe
I
the mid
disagree.
second. What
I tend to disagree with that.
you want them? How early should they go?
Well, I mean, if you if you look at last year, the last couple of years, anyways, Travis Kelce's been floating around like the 112. You look at a scoring format like Scotty Fishbowl. You remember when they had tight end
Yep.
premium scoring?
Yep.
Travis Kelce and George Kittle, Kyle Pitts. Like I remember Travis Kelce was like the 102, 103.
And that
Now,
didn't really work.
okay, so down year last year, but had you done it the year previous, you would have been like, yeah, like he's a league winner. Not only is he a difference maker at the position, but now he's on par with Devontae Adams, for example. He's outscoring Devontae Adams if he gets 1.5 per reception. So we might be into the situation here where Travis Kelce is kind of on the decline a little bit. The Chiefs have lost a little bit of their pedigree, and you could make that argument. Sure. I think there is an argument to be made, though, for taking somebody in the first round, no doubt.
Yeah, if you can have that positional advantage, but I think you in an early mock draft like this, you need to figure out where ADP has them, and reaching on Travis Kelce when you could get him in the early second. I
That's
wouldn't.
that's the only problem with a draft like this is that the scoring settings, they don't have, Sleeper doesn't have a tight end premium ADP for me to click. So there's no real way of knowing where the ADP should fall. It's really kind of more like an expert draft.
I agree. If people are conscious to the scoring settings, they will take the tight ends early. And so
Mm-hmm.
far through the first 7 picks, there hasn't been a tight end off the board. So I'm hoping myself that a tight end like Mark Andrews or Darren Waller, George Kittle falls to me at my pick, because I don't think this draft is going to go tight end early.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I don't either. And the way that I've always viewed tight end premium is if you have a back end pick like myself and you can, snag an elite tight end, awesome. Because if you were going to take tight end early as a positional advantage anyways, that's where you were probably going to target those players. So for me, it like kind of makes a lot of sense to take a Travis Kelce here, but there's also some really nice options. Tyreek Hill, Stephon Diggs, Nick Chubb, Jamar Chase even. I think I'm gonna roll the dice here with oh, now I'm tilting a little bit.
I'm
You know
surprised.
what? I'm gonna go ahead and select my Jamar Chase.
That's what I thought you would do.
Yeah, I mean he's in the same tier, if not above, guys like Stephon Diggs and Tyreek Hill. DeAndre Swift was the one I wanted to come back to me, but that's okay. If I can't get my pick of running back, I'm going to dive into the Travis Kelce realm, I think.
I think that's getting Kelce here is a great pick.
Yeah.
And you're going wide receiver, tight end to start. I think that's a great start. I would have considered Joe Mixon if you hadn't had Jamar Chase already on your team, or Nick Chubb, I suppose. I think that's also a really good pick for whoever gets him.
Mm-hmm. We got a nice little Diggs Debo stack happening here. Brocal 38.
Love it. Welcome in, Brocal. I haven't seen your name here before, but I appreciate you coming in. And I love the start with Diggs. I think you have really good value on Diggs at the 111. And then Deebo Samuel finished at wide receiver 3 this past year.
Yes.
He was dropping down boards with he wants a new contract as well. There's a lot of players in the NFL like Kyler Murray and Deebo Samuel that have erased their teams from their Instagram or Twitter bios in hopes of a new contract. So
I don't know if that's the way to do it. I don't know if
I
that's
don't
the
know either,
strat.
but this is their strategy right now. It came out that Kyler will not play without a new deal. And what are your thoughts on that, Mac?
I think it's going about things the wrong way, to be completely honest with you. Now, there's a lot of teams in the league that are going to want to throw money at Kyler Murray if the Cardinals don't want to play ball. So he's sort of forcing their hand a little bit. Again, this is your employer. This is someone you have to build a long-term relationship. I don't know if this is the way to do it, but I'm also not in the business of leveraging my talent and my services for hundreds of millions of dollars. So I don't really understand how the game works at the highest of levels, but I don't know that it makes the most sense.
It depends who these pro athletes have in their ear. I mean, it's fair that they only have a very small window to make their money, to make their tens of hundreds of millions of dollars. They have a short window. And with Kyler's injury history and he's performed throughout the season, but not in the playoffs, the Cardinals are in a really interesting spot. And I wish Adam did not take AJ Brown because I really was hoping he would fall.
Now, I do want to send this out to everybody that's watching, following along. If you checked these settings, which you should in every single draft that you do, mock or real, third round reversal has been selected. So we will be reversing in the third round. The draft board shows the arrows heading in the other direction.
Interesting.
Just so y'all know.
I love that. So I'm gonna go with George Kittle here. And there's a drop off. I guess Darren Waller is the last. Oh, Kyle Pitts too, man. I don't know. What do you think between Kittle and Pitts? Do you think it's still Kittle, or should Pitts be considered as a top 3 tight end? Because I think Kelsey and Andrews have secured themselves as the top 2 tier of their own. What they did last year. Mark Andrews was a beast last year.
Monster.
But now there's the question mark of Kittle and Pitts. They both have been both have a ton of potential is what I'm trying to say, I guess.
Tons of potential. I think when you're talking about George Kittle, Kyle Pitts, I still have to acknowledge the fact that Kyle Pitts' situation has actually gotten worse. He's had a downgrade from a throwing perspective from Matt Ryan to Marcus Mariota. They have no chemistry together. This team has lost a lot of weapons. Who knows what happens in the draft? Whether it's Marcus Mariota or a rookie, Kyle Pitts needs some help. He needs someone to run alongside with. It's not going to be Calvin Ridley. Maybe they draft a guy like Drake London or Garrett Wilson. But again, they're rookies. And so I think I would give the edge to Kittle, even if it's Trey Lance and they move on from Jimmy G. That team is so dynamic. What they can do on the ground with their running scheme, how they use Deebo Samuel now, I think it opens up a lot of opportunity for George Kittle. And for George Kittle, it seems like if he can just stay healthy and get out of his own way, he's going to be elite. Like on a points per game basis, George Kittle was at the top of the top for his position. So I think when you talk about a tight end premium, he's absolutely a difference maker. And if he has a season that we think he's capable of, he'll be borderline unstoppable.
Yeah. The 49ers have such good players, yards after catch. I mean, Trey Lance will not have to do a ton. He just needs to get the ball in their hands and they will do the rest.
Yeah.
And with the threat of him running as well, I think this team's going to be dynamic, regardless who's at quarterback.
Very dynamic.
So interesting with a couple of quarterbacks early. Our boy Taylor took Josh Allen as the first quarterback off the board. And I'm pretty sure you have Josh Allen ranked as the number 1.
I do.
Pat Mahomes goes early with the 301. What do you think about that strategy this year, having a difference maker at quarterback in a 1 quarterback league?
I don't mind it. I think at the end of the second round is maybe a hair early, but it's not by much, to be completely honest with you. I think that's right in and around where I would want to go. The only thing that changes for me, like with Taylor's pick, is that it was a third round reversal. Had he had a pick come back to him, it's a totally different ball game. But I would rather take the player that I knew I wanted, like who I'm going to pick, Javonte Williams. Take a Javonte Williams, take a a CD Lamb, take a DeAndre Hopkins, and then wait and see if anybody else takes quarterback.
Yeah, I think you got a lot of really good value on Javonte. His draft capital is going to jump, and it hasn't. The ADP hasn't corrected itself yet on Javonte, but he will be going well ahead of, I think, Zeke Elliott, even Alvin Kamara.
He's the type of player that will absolutely go ahead of a guy like Zeke Elliott if Melvin Gordon actually does depart.
Yeah.
Breece Hall going at the 306, which is
I thought about him.
Spicy.
Yeah.
Really nice. I wanted to talk real quick. I know we might have got this question, but why would someone do a third round reversal? What is the actual point of that? And the idea is that the front end talent, we're looking at guys like Jonathan Taylor, Dalvin Cook, Christian McCaffrey, Najee Harris, Derrick Henry. Those guys carry so much value. And when you turn that around and that running back value peters out, and in this case, the tight end value peters out, there's a lot of still elite options left at the wide receiver position and even quarterback position. So it allows those teams that had early picks to not only get the best player in the draft, but also to start stacking up elite talent on elite talent. And what the third round reversal really does is just try to balance that out by giving the third round back to those that had to wait in the first.
Yeah,
we've tried it a couple times. It's been it's felt balanced. It's also kind of felt a little bit unfair, but it's something to play with.
Yeah. Do you think this year there's a big difference between the top of the first round and the back of the first round? Or do you think it's going to be pretty even? Like the first round is just full of studs, and that a third round reversal is quite an advantage this year if you play that way.
It's tough to say, to be completely honest, but when we look at the guys that had, fantastic seasons, Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, Cooper Kupp, Stephon Diggs, Deebo Samuel, those guys absolutely are all candidates to be in the first round. Then you've got guys that have fallen a little bit. Alvin Kamara, Nick Chubb, Joe Mixon is at 204 ADP. He finished as the running back 5 or 3 last year. Like, Joe Mixon deserves a lot more credit. And then you got guys coming in like a Breece Hall, who we have no idea where he should go, or Javonte Williams could come up the board. So I think there's a lot of really nice pieces in the first, 15 to 18 picks. But again, it's at that back end where we start to introduce guys that potentially could have great seasons, could be huge difference makers, like Saquon Barkley, who has fallen down boards, Aaron Jones, who we still think is somewhat touchdown dependent after he lost a lot of his work to AJ Dillon. So I don't know, but I feel like it's a deeper, a deeper group of elite talent than anybody else before. Or any other year.
Welcome in, Smitty, to the channel. Thank you for coming in and finding us somehow. I'm not sure how you found out about the mock draft, but
maybe Twitter.
Welcome to the Snap Army, man, and glad to have you in. And so far, you have a great draft so far with Cooper Kupp, Nick Chubb, Breece Hall, and Elijah Mitchell. That is a fiery start.
That is really nice. I like. AJ Berg was following suit with me. We went LSU wide receivers in Jefferson and Chase, and then went elite tight ends, and then went RB2s. He took Fournette, which I think is a nice, savvy little pick here. I might have to pivot though with the wide receiver talent on the board, but we'll see where my selection takes me.
Yeah, I think I reached a little bit based on ADP with Chris Godwin. I thought about T. Higgins. Terry McLaurin has a ton of upside, and with Wentz at the helm, but I still like the safety of Chris Godwin. And Van Gucci, welcome in, Van Gucci. Pitt's perfect. I like your team as well. Let's run it through. He's got Christian McCaffrey, Darren Waller, so he went kind of same direction as me with running back, tight end. DeAndre Hopkins at the 309, and Justin Herbert going elite quarterback
Sexy.
in the 4th round. And based on where you got Herbert and where Taylor and the auto draft grabbed their quarterbacks, I like the value on Herbert. We could easily see Herbert as the number 1 overall quarterback based on what the Chargers are doing. So great start to the draft. You're going 1 position each, and interesting to see what you'll do with the 509, my dude. So thanks, Vangucci, for coming in. Glad you found us as well.
Heck yeah. Yeah. The Herbert is a 2-round value. I mean, it's not a stretch to say that Herbert and Allen points per game could be lockstep.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm here looking down this draft board. I only have 1 running back, and I know that talent is gonna
dry up,
run it quickly. I took DK Metcalf. I thought that he was the best wide receiver available, most upside. I'd be very tempted to go back and hit a DJ Moore, a Jerry Jeudy, Amari Cooper, who's now with Desean Watson. I'm kind of now looking here, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I don't love that they signed Ronald Jones. I think that really hurts his chances. I'm going to go with a guy that we haven't seen play football yet, but I actually believe in. They drafted him at 25 for a reason. James Robinson had torn Achilles, had surgery. He gets to finally get on the field with his guy and Trevor Lawrence. I'm taking Travis Etienne. He took the best year off in football. Didn't have to play a snap with Urban Meyer. Gets a fresh start this year. I think things are looking up for Travis Etienne and the Jags.
Yeah, I tend to agree. That's a good pick. It's funny when you said hasn't played a snap of football. I thought you were talking Kenneth Walker.
No.
But
no, look, like you put Travis Etienne in this draft class, he's going to, and he's way closer to Breece Hall than he is to Kenneth Walker, in my opinion.
Yeah. BroCal, I assume that's Calvin Brown. Again, thank you for coming in. We've got some new people. This is why we do it in the off season. Make sure to join our Discord, guys, if you haven't already. Appreciate you coming in. And so far, all your drafts have been super solid. And this is how we get better as a group and discuss the draft picks, discuss what you're doing on the clock. This is why we mock draft, trying out new strategies. And appreciate y'all coming in. So thanks for finding us.
Calvin drafting at work. He said it's harder than drafting and driving. I would advise neither. But if you had to choose, I mean, drafting at work is not the worst thing in the world.
So far, your draft does not represent any difficulties. Getting your RB1, James Conner, at the 502, I think is really good value on a guy that scored a ton of touchdowns.
Oh, man.
And looking
that's
good.
That's the crazy thing with a guy like James Conner and Leonard Fournette. Those guys have the ability with the offenses that they play on to score double-digit touchdowns without us blinking an eye, or batting an eye, whatever the saying is there. Not thinking twice. It's like, I'll pretty much count these guys in. Whereas you look at guys like Aaron Jones, you look at guys like Josh Jacobs. And the sentiment is not the same.
Yeah, I'm warming on Josh Jacobs. I know we kind of hate him, but
you don't. I do.
What he pulled a couple years ago, I was laughing because I was playing against Josh Jacobs in my semifinals, I want to say, or quarterfinals, when he pulled the social media. I'm not going to play. I'm going to play. Either way, it was terrifying for everyone on Twitter.
Yeah, it was brutal.
On whether or not to start Josh Jacobs, but I think that team's going to be just fine this year. And I think Jacobs is going to be. He's like a plotter, slow running back that's just going to score fantasy points, whether you like him or not.
Mark Chu here on Auto Draft has drafted 5 running backs: Jonathan Taylor, Ezekiel Elliott, J.K. Dobbins, Cam Akers, and Miles Sanders, already into the bench spots. Michael Thomas, this is a tight end premium draft, and no tight ends in sight for good old Mark.
Yeah. Pitt's perfect on the board. He went McCaffrey, Waller, Hopkins, Herbert, and Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
You like this team so far?
My team or Pitt's perfect?
Pitt's perfect.
Yeah, I don't mind it. I think going Damian Harris, I think is
a nice selection right there.
Solid pick for him. I think it's possible that Clyde Edwards is just off my draft board this year. I think
I think so too. It's not out of the question.
Yeah.
Not in the slightest.
Yeah, I think I've had him several years in a row since his rookie campaign, and I'm just out. I'm out on Clyde Edwards. He has the potential to score a couple touchdowns and have 100 all-purpose yards. It just doesn't happen. It's frustrating to own him.
Yep.
We know once Kansas City gets in the red zone that he's probably not getting the ball. He's probably getting pulled for someone else, likely Ronald Jones or the little flick pass to Travis Kelce. Man, it's just gonna be. I just am out on Clyde Edwards.
It's just we've never seen him have the lion's share of the workload like since he was drafted, and part of it's because of injury, part of it's from game script, but at the end of the day, they don't run the ball as much as we would like them to. They're a very pass heavy team. That and then bringing in Ronald Jones, that scares me because we've seen the Damian and the Darrell Williams role over the last couple of years as complementary bigger backs. Clyde hasn't been used as a pass catcher like they drafted him to be. It's all just been smoke and mirrors and no real long-term production. I'm afraid to draft Clyde Edwards-Helaire. He's probably a cheap buy, and at the right price, I'd still take a shot on him. But I'm not bullish about Clyde Edwards-Helaire in the slightest.
No, me neither.
Sad to say.
Tons of potential, great team, tons of opportunity, but yeah, not a fan. Not a fan anymore. I've spent too many hours watching him not perform, and he doesn't look good. He doesn't look like a good running back. He looks slow, so it's too bad. But again, if the value keeps falling, I mean, he's almost a 6th round pick. Yeah, that's good value for Pitts Perfect to grab him there, but I passed on him. I didn't even have a running back 2 when I passed on him. So
right. Dawson Knox going off the board. Very, very interesting. Taylor took 2 tight ends. Dalton Schultz, Dallas Goedert. Could flex one of them. Is a viable strategy in tight end premium leagues. I'm now looking here at this quarterback group: Kyler Murray, Joe Burrow, Dak Prescott, even Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers. So out of those quarterbacks, I see all 5 of them as somewhat equal. Kyler has a little bit of upside with his mobility. So I think I'm okay with any of them. I'm going to look at the wide receiver position, which seems to be the most stocked. Garrett Wilson, Treylon Burks, Devontae Smith, Drake London.
Interesting that they're up on ADP.
I know.
People probably overdrafting them early.
Big time. Yeah. And I'm going to buy into the hype a little bit. I mean, I looked down the board. Devontae Smith was the other guy I probably would have considered. Brandon Cooks, Marquise Brown, nothing wrong with those guys. Nothing wrong with Juju Smith-Schuster at all, which in hindsight was probably a better pick given his potential target share. But it's come to me, and it's like we're in the 7th round here in a 12-team league. I'm just going to take the value on Kyler Murray, who when I look at Taylor taking him at Josh Allen at 2.11. I took Kyler Murray at 7.3. That's a huge difference in terms of capital. I don't know that there's going to be that big of a difference at the end of the season.
Yeah, I mean, hindsight, if Taylor knew that there were still going to be elite quarterbacks in the 6th, 7th round, he probably would have done it differently. But again, that's why we mock draft. I love your value on Kyler, who not that long ago was going right beside Josh Allen. So yeah, totally. I get that. Brocal 38 was just waiting in the wings. He clicked Michael Carter and Kareem Hunt so fast, we barely had time to blink. So I think that's good value on Michael Carter.
For sure.
He is not draft proof by any means.
Nope.
We say that throughout the offseason, what James Robinson was last year. Mark or McKenzie predicted that the Jaguars went running back in the 1st round. And I think that the Jets have a chance to go running back in the top 2 rounds as well. So it's although we like Michael Carter, and I think he did really well last year, he doesn't set up as a full 3-down running back for the Jets. And if they want to win now, they want to win now. They want to surround Zach Wilson with as much talent as possible. So I could see them going with a running back in the top 2-3 rounds and then it'll be a mess for the Jets.
Yeah, big mess.
I also Smitty. I really like the value on Pat Freiermuth in the 7th round. It's a good draft so far.
Very good.
Judy and Amon-Ra St. Brown. Yeah, Freiermuth is a great pick. So late.
Yeah. Why I selected Garrett Wilson where I did, I think he's just the safest wide receiver. I kind of project he's going to go to either the Falcons at 8 or like the Commanders at 11. I did see though the other day, not to jump off topic too quick. I saw that the Eagles traded their 5th, 16th, and 19th for the 18th and the 101, like the 101st pick. So they traded away. I don't understand to trade up the fit like the 16 and the 19 to go to the 18. It's like they've got their eyes on somebody, but why not just make that move in the draft when you really have a better lay of the board? It doesn't really make sense to me to give up 2 first-round picks to move up 1 first-round pick, but you're giving away the pick that's ahead of your pick. I just don't understand that.
It's a very interesting strategy, and I'm not really sure why they did that either.
Is it a strategy or is it just a mistake at this point?
There has to be something. You can't assume that their head office is completely inept.
But why wouldn't they just take the player that they want at 18 at 16? Because they have 15, 16, 19.
I don't know what their thoughts are. They're getting 2 picks instead of 1 in the mid-first round, which they must know that a player is going to be there that they really like. I assume it's a quarterback. Typically, that's why people, or maybe now they want more picks this year to move up even further. Maybe we haven't seen the end of it. Maybe they're trying to get up in the top 10, top 5 with 2 first-round picks. I don't really know what they're maybe it backfired on them. Maybe they plan to do something right away and it fell through. I don't know what their thoughts are there. It is confusing.
So the Eagles received the number 18 pick.
Yes.
The 101 or the 101st, the 237th, a 2023 first. I didn't see that one. And a 2024 second. And in return, the Saints got 16-19. Okay, so the Saints are probably making a play for a quarterback and a receiver, potentially. Something like that. Yeah. Okay. I didn't see the 2023 first. That makes more sense.
Yeah. Yeah, so people thought it was the other way around, where they don't know what the Saints are doing. Like, why would they get 2 mid-round picks for 2 first-round picks?
Yeah,
the sentiment was, what were they doing? What were the Saints doing?
Yep. Okay. I'm on the draft. I'm on the clock here.
I think I got pretty good value on Juju since you were talking about him.
I shouldn't have said anything because he was buried.
Yeah.
And I should have just enjoyed that.
Yeah.
So, it is what it is. I'm going to take a guy that was buried that I think, the reports on Chris Carson are not great at the moment. I'm going to take Rashad Penny. Unless the Seattle Seahawks draft a running back, I don't see why they would. But he's probably in line to. And Isaiah Spiller would have been maybe the one I dip my toes in the water with, but that's okay.
Welcome in, Thundarius, member for 7 months.
Yes,
Snap
sir.
Army, my dude. He's got a YouTube channel as well that I subscribe to that y'all should check out. I'm just gonna find the name so I don't screw it up here.
Heck yeah.
They've got Cyber Skull Media. So Thundarius is putting out content as well. 274 subscribers doing their thing, going live, streaming all the time. But shout out to Thundarius, Snap Army member. We appreciate you. Too bad you're not in the draft, but we have all off season, my dude.
Yeah, dude. I'm really kind of stuck here at this pick. I don't want to go Chris Olave and get 2 rookies. Cordell Patterson kind of feels like a decent play here to give me some flexibility. I don't love the pick, but I also didn't want to get too rookie happy, you know?
Yeah, I get that. This time of year, I tend to agree.
And
I'm
there's lots
surprised.
of wide receiver talent left on the board. So
Did Brokel auto draft his Stafford, or did he pick Stafford? Like he went back to back quarterbacks.
he may have double tapped there. I don't see the auto on him, so I'm going to assume that he's still in it, or he had them queued up. That's another thing that
Right.
potentially could have. He might have just been looking for a quarterback and
Right.
queued up a couple, and it pulled from it twice.
Right.
Typically not what you would do, but hey,
Yeah. In
different
a
strokes for different folks, you know?
yeah, and I mean Wilson and Stafford aren't really streaming quarterbacks, they're kind of every week starters. In my opinion, if you were to wait a little bit longer with the Derek Carrs of the world and Mac Jones, I get that you take a couple, so then you just play the best lineup. And yeah, so I think it's a to a league unless he thinks he can trade one. I mean, that's
Mhm.
a strategy if you know your league really well and they value quarterbacks pretty high, you can trade one of those guys. But yeah, so Trey Lance off the board, Tron Swanson on the clock. He has Lamar Jackson, so he's likely going positional. What are your thoughts? Are you staying away from Singletary because he is also
Yep.
not close to being draft proof as well?
He's not even close to being draft proof. I think like okay, if you were to do like a startup draft right now, or um, yeah, I guess a startup draft would be the best thing, or even like some underdog fantasy, you could do some best ball lineups like super super early. Taking a Zach Moss or a Devin Singletary this late in the game is going to pay dividends if the Buffalo Bills like pass on Brees Hall. A lot of people maybe
Hmm.
have him going there at 25. Cool, yeah, like, that would be awesome. I would love that for him, for his fantasy stock. But if that doesn't happen, you're kinda laughing with Singletary in, like, the 12th round, like, that's where
Yeah.
did you get him last time we did this? I think it was 12.
Yeah, super late. And
Super late. So, anytime you can get a potential starting running back in the double-digit rounds, you're laughing. Absolutely.
I think I might go quarterback here. Everyone's got theirs. I'm going Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, that makes sense. Mobility, hopefully I mean, hopefully they can get him another weapon. Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. I as soon as I clicked on it, I hated it knowing that like Tom Brady's still around. But
No, you got to take Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts was, he wasn't a good quarterback for NFL purposes, but he was a great quarterback for fantasy football. So
yeah. Yeah.
Lane and I are going to break down at the end of the show some draft grades. We're going to give you a letter grade, like hopefully an A+, but we'll do, we'll go through everybody's team. We'll get you guys to vote on whose team you like the best. Landon and myself. I believe last time Landon got the dub over me. So we'll see how that's looking this time. But stick around at the end. We'll give some feedback on your individual drafts.
Yeah, should be good. I think Taylor, if I was Taylor, I might be going running back here, like a Ramondre or Singletary type dude.
Yeah. Thundaria saying, I wish my league drafted like this. People are taking quarterbacks in the first and second round. I wish my league drafted like that because I would just scoop up all that value on the other positions. But yeah, it's really nice to get late round value. You never know what a draft looks like, and that's why we practice. That's why we throw different things like third round reversals and different scoring settings so that you become a better drafter. That's really the whole goal behind these mock drafts. But yeah, we tend to get some sharp people in with us, which is great, and makes for a good experience.
Yeah, and we have a mix of, I mean, it's nice to have a couple auto drafters in here because you have always in your league that they just take from ADP, and that's it. They
Mm-hmm.
follow ADP. They take quarterbacks early. They do all kinds of stuff that you wouldn't do, but that's kind of what the computer does. Like how Marks took 5 running backs in the first 6 rounds. I mean, 7 rounds.
I would love to just make it alphabetical. Like instead of having it sorted by ADP, all right, alphabetical, go.
I
It's
think
definitely not as convenient. You got to be more prepared, but it'd be interesting.
I'd like to do that as a last minute curveball for our listener league. That would be fun.
I mean,
So
you gotta come prepared. You gotta come correct.
We got to do
There
something.
we
So
go.
if anyone's watching this and is wondering what I'm talking about, we do a listener league every single year. We haven't taken any entries yet, but our the
Defending
previous years
champions for the first time.
exactly. So that's right. So that was our OG league, right?
Nope. No,
Oh
we
no,
won the
okay,
listener league last
the
year.
listener league, right.
The OG league was the all flex league.
Right.
You
Mark
had 2
won
super
that
flex
one.
and 7 flex spots.
Got you. So we've got a couple listener leagues going, but either way, so Mac and I won the listener league for the first time, which was nice to see.
First time ever, yeah. 3 years and finally got it done.
We switch things up, switch up the scoring settings every single year. It's a ton of fun. So follow us on our socials on Twitter, on Instagram. We're snap_fantasy on both. Join our Discord as well, and you'll get notified. This past year, we had a ton of really, really good entries. Someone wrote us a song to get into the listener league.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
Either way, it was a lot of fun. And hopefully, if you're watching this right now, you're crazy about fantasy football as we are, and you can play against us. And we'll throw some curveballs your way. Either way, it's going to be a ton of fun.
Yeah, it's always a good time. We tend to get some shout outs on the podcast. We tend to poke fun and talk a lot of trash, and yeah, it's good. It keeps things fun, gives us a better experience with the listeners to get to play alongside us. It's a good time. It's really nice.
Really
Who are you thinking here? 53 seconds on the clock for you. Who are you eyeing up? Give me all your secrets.
Kenny Galladay probably is who
Yeah,
I'll go with. Yeah, I'm just not going to think about it and go Kenny G. He was a last round pick when we last drafted, so he's going a little bit higher now. 10th round, I think. Good value.
I got him in the 4th round.
Again, maybe I'm dating myself, but a few years ago he was a top 10 wide receiver. But so I think he's still not dead in the water. I think he should be going ahead of guys like Gabriel Davis, in my opinion. But you never know. Kenny Galladay could just be a roster clogger, a guy that he's got the name value, and you just can't drop him.
Right.
He was like Allen Robinson was last year, a guy that you just have to bench, but you can't drop. That just might be what Kenny Galladay is.
That's exactly what Kenny Galladay is, and unfortunately, I'm looking at the tight ends and wide receivers here, and what do you think about DJ Chark to the Lions? We haven't talked about him at all. Do you like that?
I think I'm out on DJ Chark.
Yeah.
Again, he'll have big games. I just don't think he'll be consistent. I don't think he's good enough to be consistent with the Lions, but there's always potential. He's a streamer. Like, he's a guy that in a good matchup against one of the worst pass defenses in the league, he's a flex play.
Do you like Odell Beckham Jr. on half a season or DJ Chark on a full season?
Based on where you have like Garrett Wilson, I think DJ Chark is probably the play.
Yeah.
Where do you think Julio Jones lands?
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't really want to know.
Yeah.
I'll take a shot on somebody who hasn't landed yet, but hopefully will soon. Jarvis Landry.
I like that. I like that a lot.
He's got to go somewhere, right? Like, what if he ends up landing with the Packers? Let's just say they finally do something sensible.
Well, I was just going to ask you, what do you think about Sammy Watkins to the Green Bay Packers?
I don't like it.
Is he worth a late round dart throw?
Well, if he's all that they have, yeah. I mean,
but you hope that they grab someone else.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, look, like, he's better than nobody. Like, is he an upgrade to Randall Cobb? Like, I don't know, maybe.
I think so.
He hasn't done anything in so long.
Yeah.
I would be looking here potentially at like a Raheem Mostert or Darrell Henderson or Kenneth Gainwell, Juba Hubbard, maybe Jamal Williams was serviceable, but I've got a good little stack of running backs, Swiss Army knife, and Cordero Patterson if he can have one more season. Tight end Hunter Henry and his touchdown upside is certainly nice, but it's about that volume.
It's about that
You know what? This is
volume.
a terrible play. But if anything happens with Kyler Murray, gets a little bit injured, the lowest hanging fruit here is Deshaun Watson.
Hey, there you go. I took him in the super flex draft last time, so I don't mind that pick. He'll likely get I was 6 games suspension is what I'm thinking.
Here's the thing
So
with a pick like that. He's kind of forgotten about. I was thinking Team 12 would auto draft him, but didn't. If Deshaun Watson, if things are, smooth sailing, clear skies, no real suspension even happens. I know that's probably living in a fairy
but
tale
it's
land, but
possible.
it's possible.
Yeah.
If things go really well for Deshaun Watson, he gets a clean slate. He's balling out. He's a really easy trade piece. Or Kyler Murray. Like, I could trade one of them, which in a 1 QB league, if you can trade a quarterback for an upgrade at a position or
A
some more
position.
depth, I mean,
Absolutely.
you're in great shape. So
Yeah.
if Deshaun Watson didn't have a suspension potentially looming, he's going ahead of Kyler Murray. He's going in and around that Lamar Jackson, Justin Herbert tier, I think.
Yeah. No, for sure.
So potential
Thun-
trade.
I'm just about on the clock, but Thundarius asks, who should I be targeting at the end of the first and start of the second with my picks? Sorry, I'm way late today. No problem. So I assume this is a 1 quarterback lead, Thundarius. And I like kind of where that tier of wide receivers, Jamar Chase, Stephon Diggs, I think are great targets at the back of the first round, if that's possible for you. Hold on, I'm gonna make a pick here. I'm gonna go Jameson. I haven't picked a rookie yet, except for Kenneth Walker. So
yeah, I do tend to agree. I think I know you're gonna be back up picking again, so I'll just say what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
I think guys like Devontae Adams and Cooper Kupp are going to be overdrafted. Cooper Kupp, for example, is going to be heavily overdrafted. Like, they're gonna have a run game that's a little bit more healthy and a little bit better equipped with Cam Akers back. If they keep Michelle on, if they've got Henderson, they're going to be wanting to run the football. Secondly, they added Allen Robinson. They've still got Van Jefferson. They lost Robert Woods, but you add in Allen Robinson for Cooper Kupp, and Odell Beckham Jr. has verbally committed to coming back to that team. There's a lot of competition for targets. They have a healthier run game. I just don't know that Cooper Kupp gets anywhere close to the amount of volume he had last year. And he's not going to break touchdown records again. So he's going to be overdrafted. Devontae Adams is going to be overdrafted. And I think Tyreek Hill will probably still be overdrafted. When people change teams, typically there is a decline in results, and we just omit that as fantasy players. So I would be a little bit bearish on those 3 guys, but I think they're still going to maintain their draft equity. So I think those guys at that ADP would be out for me, and I would be happy to target someone like Joe Mixon or like Landon was saying, Jamar Chase, AJ Brown.
So you're taking Joe Mixon at the back of the first round?
I'm just saying, I would potentially take those guys over like a Devontae Adams if there was like a really strong quarterback run or something like that.
It's assuming that no quarterbacks is going in the first round, because I assume Thunders is a 1 quarterback league. But yeah, I think I don't know. The ones
you hope that Devontae Adams and Tyreek Hill go ahead of Jefferson and Chase, and that value falls to you. But I decided to take Jamar over those guys for basically what I just said.
They went before Jamar.
I took Jamar before, but their ADP was actually higher. Like, Tyreek Hill was ahead of Jamar Chase.
Right.
I took Jamar Chase.
Yeah.
Yes.
Gotcha.
But I'm saying you're hoping that ADP kind of plays itself out.
Right. The running backs that I'll be targeting Thundarius. Mac mentioned Joe Mixon. I like that. I think Javonte Williams is going to go at the back of the first if Melvin Gordon goes. If that's the case, I'm happy with Javonte at the back of the first round as well. And then early second, you go with your wide receiver like Adebo or Jamar, if that's possible. Cooper Kupp, if say Devontae Adams and Cooper Kupp start falling because of the rhetoric and the stuff that Mac is saying, I'm fine taking that value. It's just if people draft them at where they performed last year, like Cooper Kupp could be going in the top 5 come draft season. That's where I agree with Mac, and I'll stay away. But I'll take the value if people are super worried about Allen Robinson. But it just depends on where their ADP is come draft season.
Mm-hmm. So that will conclude the draft. Solid draft, a little bit shorter as we dropped one of the flex positions. But let us know in the chat who had the better draft, me or Landon.
So I'll go over my team here. I went Najee Harris with the first pick. I went George Kittle with my second because this is tight end premium. I smashed wide receiver after that with CeeDee Lamb, Chris Godwin, Amari Cooper. I went rookie Kenneth Walker, who I expect to get top 2. I expect him to go in the second round. I should phrase that differently. I expect Kenneth Walker to go back to the second round. AJ Dillon, I think, I'm surprised he's falling this far. He got half the workload with Aaron Jones last year. So I'm happy grabbing AJ Dillon. Juju Smith-Schuster, Jalen Hurts as my quarterback, Kenny Golladay, Jameson Williams, and then Albert O, who has the opportunity in Denver. Again, tight end premium. I think he's a flex-worthy tight end, and I'm happy to get that at the back of my draft.
Albert O, Nathan Janke's Dynasty tight end 5 over Darren Waller.
Hey, so I'm getting some serious value on him.
Yeah, PFF. What are you doing? Love PFF, but you can't be putting that stuff out. That is cray-cray.
Yeah, Matt, go over your team here.
Yeah. Let me just click on. I should have done that for you, but I'll do this for me. Jamar Chase, Travis Kelce, Javonte Williams, DK Metcalf, Travis Etienne, Garrett Wilson. Got that value on Kyler, Rashad Penny, Cordero Patterson, Jarvis Landry, Desean Watson, Robert Tonyan. This team is all right. I think in hindsight, instead of taking Garrett Wilson, Juju Smith-Schuster or like Devontae Smith was probably a better pick. But I still don't mind it. I think Garrett Wilson could have a very solid season, given his high draft capital, immediate usage, and just solid route running, good separation. I think he's a very polished wide receiver, very safe, and will make an immediate impact wherever he goes. So Chase, Metcalf, Wilson, Landry, I could game those guys. I think looking at this roster, I'd be, between a Landry, Wilson, Penny flex. If Cordero Patterson happens to fall into his old habits, I could flex him in there too. Kyler, awesome. I could probably trade Deshaun if he does well, or trade Kyler, vice versa. And Kelce is great. Robert Tonyan, we've seen him be a top 5 tight end on a season in a tight end premium league. If Green Bay just does what Green Bay does and doesn't equip Rodgers, he might be forced to use Robert Tonyan heavily like he did in 2020. So I could absolutely see a world where Tonyan comes back to fantasy light. So that was kind of where I went. I think the team is somewhat solid. I think it's I think it hinges on some things happening with those rookie running backs. I think that's the thing that scares me the most about this team. Williams, ETN, those guys are somewhat of a question mark. So there's definitely some scare there, but there's also a lot of upside. So I think with the good, you also have to accept the bad.
Yeah. I could see you gaming this roster, but it's also a lot of your ability to trade as well. I think that's why you could also game it. And like you said, trade some of these quarterbacks or some of the upside. I would game mine, but I would want to probably package a couple late round wide receivers for a starting running back. So packaging together a Juju and a Kenny Golladay to get a decent, like a Josh Jacobs type of running back maybe would be interesting to people. Hard to say. I'd have to look at the league, but yeah, overall, like my draft. And we have 1 vote for Lando, easy daddy, taking my
Yeah, he
But
voted for you last time, even though my team, I think, was clearly better. But, we know where Eric lies. That's fine.
much love. All right, let's go over the. So do you what do you want to do now? Do you want to pick out our favorite teams, or do you want to go uh
We'll just go
player?
through these, as quickly as possible here.
Sure,
Looking at this team here with Mark, I think, well, it was auto drafted a ton. We'll point out the positives here. Solid running back core. We'll probably have to facilitate some trades. Your wide receiving core scares the hell out of me with Michael Thomas, Drake London, Gabriel Davis, and DJ Chark. So I think you're gonna have to maybe pull some trades, get some of these running backs out, get some better wide receivers in. Aaron Rodgers at 8-1 was a steal of a deal, and Tyler Higbee in a tight end premium league is also probably a little bit of
good.
a loss at the position. But
Sure.
I would say overall, this is probably bordering on a C plus. It's got good pieces. It may have neglected the spirit of the draft, but it was also an auto draft. So it is what it is. I would say C plus, a lot of potential, but as it stands right now, the roster is the roster.
Yeah, Mark would have done a better job if he drafted himself, and we understand that. And he'll be able to move those running backs no problem.
Yeah.
If a guy like me coming knocking on his door that needs some running backs. So Taylor, he went with Dalvin Cook, Josh Allen, David Montgomery, Dalton Schultz, Adam Thielen, Dallas Goedert, Ayuk, Marquise Brown. I think that's good value on Brown. Melvin Gordon, again, good value. Gallup, who tore his ACL, should be hit back halfway through the season. Darrell Henderson and Derek Carr. Overall, I think Taylor had a good draft. Took Josh Allen a little too early, but made up for it with some value picks later on. I would probably give this like a B minus. He could game this roster. I don't think he would be too thrilled about it at the end of the day, but overall, I think it's solid. You got two good tight ends in a tight end premium league.
Yeah, absolutely. On to Pitts Perfect, aka Van Gucci in the chat. McCaffrey, Edwards-Helaire, Damian Harris, Chris Carson. The running back group is okay. I think you actually save the running back group with Damian Harris, someone who had double-digit touchdowns last year. Actually, I think the count was 15. He had like 2 games of 3 touchdowns. Really, really solid. So Clyde Edwards-Helaire scares me. Damian Harris is pretty solid. Hopkins, Claypool, Tyler Boyd, and Kadarius Toney, not bad for a receiving core. Your upsides here with Christian McCaffrey, Darren Waller, Zach Ertz. Waller and Ertz should give you a really nice baseline on a week-to-week basis. So I definitely like that. And then Justin Herbert was a steal if you compare him to Josh Allen per se 2 rounds later. Justin Fields was the only one I didn't really love, but I get where you're going because I did the same thing with Desean Watson. I just happened to get him 2 rounds later than you did with Fields. Getting someone like a Chris Olave or a Michael Gallup who have a little bit of upside, I think might have been a better play given your wide receiver core. But I like this team so far the best out of Mark and Taylor. So I would give this. What did you give Taylor? A B minus?
Yep.
I'd probably pot this win in around a B plus.
Sounds good. Yeah, when you have an elite quarterback, there's no use taking 2.
Right.
Unless you're really looking to trade. And if Justin Fields pops off, sure, it's possible that Fields could garner some trades, but it's also a decent chance that he doesn't, and he's just very average, and then he's just sitting on your bench the whole year.
It's okay, easy. I don't need a pity vote. I'll just take this team to the finals. No worries.
Tron Swanson, my boy Adam, coming in here with Austin Eckler, AJ Brown, Saquon Barkley, Jalen Waddle, Lamar Jackson, homer pick. He's a Baltimore Ravens fan. Allen Robinson, Mike Williams, Gesicki, Ronald Jones, Bateman, Alexander Madison, and Tua Tagovailoa. I think this is a very solid draft. Good value on Robinson and Mike Williams. He went with a tight end too that is going to be fairly solid with Gesicki. I would have probably liked him taking 2 tight ends.
Sure.
Another one late, similar like to an Albert O type player. I'm not sure who was still off the board. Hunter Henry, Gronk late would have been a good pick for for Adam. But overall, I like this team. Barkley, I'm really not that sure about
Yeah.
going into this season. If But really, he didn't have a ton of options. Maybe I don't know if I like Montgomery over Barkley or not, but I think Montgomery's safer. It's sad to say, but I think I give this a solid B,
The
a
upside to
solid B
Barkley is
score.
that he is still an elite talent and he has the backfield to himself where,
Yeah,
you see a guy like David Montgomery who in his absence, Khalil Herbert had a ton of success.
yeah,
We could see him eating into some of the role. So who knows? Who knows? Growing pains with Justin Fields, like that offense could struggle.
yeah.
Saquon Barkley gets the workload no matter what.
That's true. So yeah, I think this is a very gameable roster as it is. He doesn't need to make many trades at all. Like it's very balanced, solid. He's got some solid backup running backs.
Yeah, I like this team.
Um, yeah, I like this team. B plus for Adam.
It hinges on Saquon Barkley, in my opinion. If Saquon Barkley has a bounce back year and can be an RB1, I think he's in contention to win this league. Like
Yeah,
Lamar, difference maker. Gesicki usually has volume. Robinson, Waddle, Brown, even Mike Williams with touchdown upside. Rashawn Bateman. I like this team a lot. Ronald Jones
yeah,
could potentially pop with the Chiefs. You never know.
sure. Yeah, I mean,
It's a good team.
Clyde could get hurt, and then he's got another starter.
Yeah, it's your grade to give.
Yeah, I said BB. I said I'll go B plus. The more we
Yeah, I
talk
think
about
it's
it.
in the B plus category, no doubt.
Yeah.
On to Smitty. Welcome into the stream. Glad to have you. Cooper Kupp, Nick Chubb, Breece Hall was early. Interested to talk about that one. Elijah Mitchell, Jerry Jeudy, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Patty Fryer, Hunter Renfrow, Trey Lance, Tom Brady, Alan Lazard, Naeem Hines. I think looking at this, the last two picks of your draft, I wasn't overly thrilled with. Alan Lazard, Naeem Hines. I do get the appeal. I just think that there were players here that had more upside. For example, I would have rather just had Tyler Boyd. Really safe role in a really good offense. I think Tyler Boyd's a better pick than Alan Lazard. Alan Lazard, I haven't
What
seen
if?
anything from Alan Lazard
Yeah.
that warrants him an increased target share, an increased workload. He's just always been a tertiary guy, and I don't think he steps up to be the guy in this offense. They're going to draft or trade for somebody, without a doubt in my mind.
Right. Yeah, it's got to be. And if they don't, and he's the guy, I mean, then you have a great pick.
He's
But
not. He's not the guy. He doesn't have the skill set.
all right. Yeah. I mean, you know better than anyone.
I do.
But
I definitely do. Kupp and Jeudy, solid. I think Jerry Jeudy takes a step forward with Russell Wilson, or he should be able to. He's a very talented route runner. The Amon-Ra St. Brown love and ADP, I don't really buy into. Personally, I really do like the Chubb, Hall, Mitchell stack, though. That really caught my attention. Trey Lance has a lot of upside. Tom Brady was a nice pick to actually add some safety because Trey Lance might not be the week one starter. There's a potential that Jimmy G is still there. So I thought that was a smart play given that Brady was just sitting there. I think this team is like right in the B category for me. I could be wrong on Amon-Ra St. Brown. He could pick up right where he left off last year, light the world on fire, and this team looks, doesn't even look back. I do
yeah,
think Breece Hall will be very, very good. So
these slot wide receivers, Cobb, Judy, Amon-Ra, Renfro. I mean,
yeah,
you got some PPR value. This is a PPR draft, so you got a ton of targets going your way.
Freiermuth with Trubisky isn't as valuable as Freiermuth with Ben, but Pat Freiermuth I still like. So I like this. It's good.
Me too.
Solid B.
AJ Berg, our guy who wanted Desean Watson that missed out. Tilting. Yeah, he was having a great draft.
Sorry, my dude.
Justin Jefferson, Mark Andrews, Antonio Gibson, Leonard Fournette. Then he quadruple tapped wide receiver. DJ Moore, Pittman, Devonta Smith, Brandon Cooks. Those are some really good wide receivers. Pollard late. I mean, Pollard is a really good backup running back. And then James Cook, rookie, brother of Dalvin. Then he double tapped Kirk Cousins and Ryan Tannehill to finish it off, which I don't mind doing that. Two very serviceable pocket passing quarterbacks that could just throw touchdowns, tons of touchdowns that you'll stream back and forth. So I like this team. He got the elite tight end and tight end premium, which not a lot of people did. So very solid. And then you don't really need to draft another one unless you want to flex them. So I like the strategy overall. AJ Burke, he's always a very sharp drafter. So this doesn't surprise me whatsoever.
Knowing that he wanted Desean Watson and me yanking that rug right from underneath him, it makes me feel good because AJ gets the better of me more than I get the better of him. So this was a win for me today.
Yeah, shout out to AJ. Love that.
On to my guy Easy, who
solid
drafted
B+.
a D+ team. Not kidding. Should have voted for me though. Would have been at least a half letter grade better. I don't discriminate when it comes to education. I mark in an equitable sense. I grade fairly, as if there were no names on the paper. When it comes to fantasy football, though, when you besmirch me and you pick Landon 2 weeks in a row, I have to then throw a half grade discount.
Some shade. I mean,
some shade.
Easy speaks the truth.
Okay.
That's all I know.
Yeah, let's look at this. Mixon, Jones, Jacobs, and Chase Edmonds switching teams to the Miami Dolphins projects to probably be their number one at this point in time.
Yep.
So you got a value on Edmonds. Mixon, Jones, Jacobs is very, very solid. I think you have RB1, RB2 flex spot figured out with those three. Chase Edmonds could just be the cherry on the top. Devontae Adams, Cortland Sutton, Darnell Mooney, Christian Kirk, Tim Patrick. Again, very solid. Adams and Sutton. Sutton should take a step forward. We could probably really see him be that alpha again with reliable quarterback play in Russell Wilson. So really, really like that. I'm not the biggest Dawson Knox fan. You guys know that. I'm probably the wrong one to evaluate. If Landon was looking at this team, he'd probably be to the moon about Dawson Knox. But I think there's a little bit of cause for concern, a little pump the brakes to be had for Dawson Knox. Given his touchdown rate last year, it's not sustainable. It's not sticky moving forward. And I get that's why people like him, but I'm not willing to bank on that. Either way, Dawson Knox is fine. You got Hunter Henry, who kind of represents the same thing. So hopefully between the two of them, you could stream some touchdowns.
Yeah.
And Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow is coming off an unbelievable season, a really good sophomore performance. Hopefully they get him a little bit more protection this year in the draft. I know that they have done so in free agency, but hopefully they continue to do that. So Burrow, solid. This might be actually my favorite team. Not gonna lie. I'm gonna go A-.
Hey, there you go. And Easy, if you would have voted for Mac, it would have been a solid
A+. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, A-. I think this is good. Like, in honesty, it's a solid, well-rounded draft. The tight ends scare me. But you could definitely.
But I mean, two of them is solid, and there's still upside. There's no denying there's Dawson Knox being with the Buffalo Bills. There's always going to be upside with one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. It's just, I agree with Mac. The touchdown rate, similar to Hunter Henry's, unsustainable. But I mean, it's still a really good offense, and they're going to score a lot of fantasy points.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of fantasy points, Bro Cal 38, new to the stream. Welcome in, my dude. Stephon Diggs, Deebo Samuel, Kyle Pitts, really good start. Then he went Deontay Johnson and triple tapped running back James Conner, Michael Carter, Kareem Hunt. Solid running back core. You could always flex Kareem Hunt. He's the easiest flex player in the league. Then he double tapped quarterback, which I wouldn't really do, taking two elite quarterbacks, Russell Wilson, Matt Stafford. I guess it's if you think that Russell's still elite, he kind of had a really down year last year, and changing teams, there could be some question marks. Maybe that's what Bro Calvin was thinking, but
sure,
I would have taken one or the other. I think I prefer Stafford this year to Wilson, but it's close.
I don't know about that.
Then you go with Cole Kmet, Noah Fant, and Rondell Moore to finish it off. More tight ends. Yeah, I think this is a very, very solid draft. He's got elite wide receivers, very average but good running backs with upside, and then lots of tight ends in this category. I think you're really you're doing really well. So
yeah, the only part I'm a little bit afraid of is the Connor Carter Hunt stack.
yeah, but I
That's it.
mean, I get for sure. If the New York Jets don't draft a running back, I
Oh,
think you're
sure.
I think you're in good shape. And I mean, it's hard to say what they do. It's hard. I think they're going to do it, but if they don't, then you're laughing with some good options. In a PPR draft, we know that Kareem Hunt catches a lot of passes because Nick Chubb is basically zero as far as receptions go. So
The
yeah, I think
thing
this is
is
a
though, James Conner has to score double digit touchdowns for you to get your money's worth on him.
in the fifth round.
I mean, just being your running back one. Being your running back
Uh
one is what I'm saying.
oh, I
Like
mean,
the guy only had 200 attempts last year.
right. Yeah.
Yes, I understand. Oh, Chase Edmonds is gone.
Yep.
How much did Chase Edmonds really eat into his workload? Like, not a ton, given that James Conner got the job because of Chase Edmonds' absence. So, like, off the top of your head, if you had to go back and look, how many yards did James Conner rush for?
I have it pulled up already. So
Okay.
it's yeah.
Like,
Um
we're talking 1,000 all-purpose yards,
yeah.
752 rushing yards on 200 attempts, but he had 18 total touchdowns. Like, James Conner's fantasy finish was a product of touchdown rate. He's going to have to get into the end zone a ton for him to be a top 10 running back, to be your running back one on a reliable basis. And I'm a little bit afraid about that.
Yeah, I think he should like we would project him to get more touches than he did last year, assuming health and they're not going to draft a running back. We know
If
that
James
pretty
Conner can get 250, I'm okay with it.
yeah. Yeah, and I think that's in the realm of possibility for him.
That's a 25% increase. That's a lot.
Yeah, I don't think it's crazy to assume 250 rushing attempts. I know
Yeah.
it's a percentage wise, it's an increase. I don't think that's crazy. Like I don't love James Conner. I could have picked him too, but I think it's reasonable to assume that. Maybe not, but yeah, I understand your hesitation,
hmm
but because
That's
he
my only
got so many,
reservation with James Conner.
yeah, I think because he did so well in the early rounds and taking and just waiting on running back, kind of going that not zero running back strategy, but no running back early. I think landing a James Conner is solid. Like
Yeah,
like because of the situation, I'd rather go Conner over ETN based on what he needed as his RB1.
sure.
ETN is a higher risk play, but
Yep.
you could afford to do it because you had a Javante first. Um,
I was
so
looking at
that's
Leonard Fournette, to be
right.
completely honest. He got pulled
Right.
from me
Yeah.
by AJ, which
Right.
you know the deal with that. He usually does that to me.
Yeah.
But I've seen a lot of lists of people within the industry of ranking James Conner and Leonard Fournette as very close assets, and I don't think that they are particularly close in my rankings, for the simple fact that I think Leonard Fournette plays on a better team. I think the Bucs are a better team. And I like Leonard Fournette's pass catching ability over James
Right.
Conner. I
Right.
like his touchdown upside moving forward. I think I would much rather have Leonard Fournette than James Conner
Why do you like his touchdown upside more? Like I think
because I
that
think
both teams are
be-
good,
because I think the
right?
Bucs are a better team.
Okay.
They have
So
been.
Fournette only had 180 rushing attempts last year. What would you project him this year?
How many receptions did he have?
69.
There you go.
Yeah,
This is
no,
a full PPR.
I don't disagree,
And
but
how many games did Fournette play last year?
Fournette played 14 games.
Right. So he missed
Yeah.
3 games.
Right.
He had 69 receptions and he missed 3 games. We're talking Leonard Fournette could comfortably be in the low 220 range with a potential of 80 receptions. I mean, that's fantastic. He averaged like 5.5 receptions a game.
Right. It was the 17-game season, right? So 2 games you missed?
No. It's an 18-game season. They play 17. He only played 14. So he missed 3 games.
All right. Sure.
Either way. Yeah, I mean, I like Leonard Fournette over James Conner. Either way. If we had to pick a winner for this draft, did you give Brocal a grade, letter grade?
No, you ran right in there and interrupted me.
Oh, I'm sorry, Landry.
I would give this one. I think it's a solid draft overall. I would give this one an A-.
Okay. Very interesting. So it's between Brocal and Easy Daddy. We'll go co-winners. Clearly, we have a maybe a segment to do on James Conner versus Leonard Fournette, the battle of the touchdown-dependent running backs.
Sure, yeah, maybe.
Yeah. Team Conner for Lando and Team Fournette for me.
I mean, their draft capital is different. I mean, Connor's later draft capital, so I'll take the value on James Conner for sure.
They're not, though.
Well, I mean, they were separated by how many picks in this draft? 6?
Well, they're separated by Josh Jacobs at the position.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, if I liked James Conner, which I don't, but let's say the team in my position did and didn't want to gamble, they would have been two apart. I could have taken him at 410.
All right.
Right. I actually think on their ADP they're very close, but like I said, I've seen a lot of rankings, top 12 running back rankings for 2022, and they're like 5 and 6. Yeah. Like they're very, very close in people's rankings. I don't think that he warrants that, James Conner, but that's just
I mean, James Conner is necessarily not a player I'm ready to die on either. Like I'm not a big stan of James Conner. I understand the reasoning behind him and his upside, assuming he has the full workload in Arizona, which at this point we have to. So I see the path of fantasy relevance. I don't see him necessarily as a top 12 running back. I'm not saying any of that. He didn't go as a top 12 running back. I'm saying in the 5th round, based on where he was drafted, I think that's good value. That's really all I'm saying.
Oh yeah, I think the value is great. I think my position is based off of the ranking lists that I've seen from, Pro Football Focus and the fantasy footballers and other people within the industry of like him being a top 12 running back. And I just don't agree with that. I just don't. I think that's projecting too much of what happened last year to this year. And I don't necessarily think that's something that holds true based on workload. I think that would be a huge increase for his workload. I'm just highlighting the fact that his touchdown rate was extremely high.
Right. I mean, I can't speak on their rankings. I just can speak on he went as running back 23 in this draft. And yeah,
it's great. And I think I'd rather have Leonard Fournette as running back 21. That's all I'm saying.
Maybe he would have too, but he couldn't have taken it. So I don't know. Anyways, there's no point, I guess. And it's an interesting conversation either way, but should be fun throughout the offseason.
Well, thanks for drafting with us. Appreciate you guys. Remember to leave a like on the video, subscribe for future content. We got those rookie profiles coming out probably in May after the draft happens. We will try to go live for the draft and join our Discord. That's where the conversation keeps going year round. You can go ahead and get us. Easy says, it's Rashad Penny, penny wise or penny less, a segment. I like that. It's got a nice ring to it.
There
Easy.
You go. That sounds like a Scotty segment.
Heck yeah. All right. Appreciate you guys coming by. We will do this hopefully soon. 2 weeks into the NFL draft. Can't wait. Should be a lot of fun. We'll probably mix in one more mock draft, with trades maybe.
Yeah, we definitely should
try to get something spicy. Happen. Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah.
All right, guys. We'll see you next time. Have a good one. Be easy.